Formula One is a sport of innovation. The rules of the formula of the sport are written in such a way that there are loopholes, intentional or not, written within them. Teams have to innovate or die within the sport, and the teams that find the biggest loopholes that garner the most speed are usually the teams that win races and championships. Today we will be looking at 7 of those innovations and how they came about. From ground effect to turbochargers and even X-Wings, we will be covering the most fascinating innovations in the history of our beloved sport. So stick around, number 4 will really surprise you. Number 7. Ground effect. Ground effect in Formula One refers to the aerodynamic design of the car's underside, which creates downforce and increases grip on the track. The principle behind ground effect is that the car's body creates a low-pressure area underneath the car, which generates a suction effect that pulls the car down toward the track. This allows the car to travel at high speeds through corners. The ground effects concept was first introduced in the late 1970s by Colin Chapman of the Lotus team. The success of the Lotus 78 promoted other teams to develop their own ground effect cars. However, the FIA, the governing body of Formula One, became concerned about the safety implications of ground effect cars, as the high speeds and downforce generated by these cars made them difficult to drive and control. And there were several accidents involving ground effect cars, most notably the death of Gilles Villeneuve at the 1981 Belgian Grand Prix. As a result, the FIA banned the use of ground effect in Formula One in 1983. However, ground effect rules were reintroduced in the 2022 Formula One season in order to promote closer racing and better overtaking opportunities for drivers. This, coupled with numerous innovations in the safety and drivability of the cars, proved to be a wonderful decision, since the racing is as close as it has been in decades. Number 6. X-Wings. In the 1980s, Formula One teams began experimenting with X-shaped winglets that were mounted on the side pods of the car, rather than on the rear wing end plates. These X-Wings, so-called due to their striking resemblance to the starfighters from Star Wars, were designed to generate additional downforce by redirecting the airflow coming off the side pods and to help to reduce drag. The first team to introduce X-Wings in Formula One was once again the Lotus team, under Colin Chapman in the late 1970s. However, despite the initial interest in X-Wings, they were not as effective as ground effect, which was banned by the FIA in 1983. Additionally, the FIA believed that the X-Wings created an unfair advantage for teams that were able to develop and use them effectively, and also due to safety concerns. They generated high levels of downforce, which was very useful on street circuits. As you can see, most of the footage and photos of the cars are from Monaco, where downforce is king. However, the higher levels of downforce, coupled with lower levels of visibility, resulted in a high risk of accidents, especially when the cars went through tight corners at high speeds. Teams began phasing out the use of X-Wings and focusing on other ways to improve their cars' aerodynamics. Number 5. Active suspension. The late 80s and the early 90s were an era of pushing the boundaries within the sport of F1, seeing as many innovations came from this time. One such innovation was the development of active suspension. The idea behind it was to allow teams to adjust the suspension of their cars on the fly and automatically to optimize the car's handling and performance depending on the track conditions. The system used sensors and computer-controlled actuators to adjust the suspension setting in real time. This meant that the car would have different suspension settings from corner to corner, which dramatically improved the speed of the car. The Williams team was one of the first teams to experiment with active suspension, developing the technology in-house and fitting it on the FW14B car that debuted in 1991. This was the first car to ever use active suspension, and it was the main factor for the success of the team. The Williams FW14B, driven by Nigel Mansell, won the 1992 Formula One World Championship, and the team also won the Constructors' Championship that same year. Alain Prost, driving for Williams, also won the World Drivers' Championship in 1993. However, active suspension was banned by the FIA in 1994, and it was considered too expensive and giving an unfair advantage to the teams that could afford it. Also, it was not in line with the spirit of the sport, whatever that means. Number 4. Fan car. From World Championship winners, we go to the downright goofy and the Brabham BT46B, also colloquially known to fans as the fan car, is probably as goofy as it gets in Formula 1. It featured an unusual design where a large fan was located at the rear of the car, which was used to suck air out from under the car, creating a vacuum effect, thus basically gluing the car to the ground and allowing it to take corners with amazing speed and precision. The fan was powered by the car's engine and was capable of spinning at a very high speed. The fan car's design was so effective that it was able to generate a significant amount of downforce, which allowed the car to corner faster and have better traction on the track. The car made its debut at the 1978 Swedish Grand Prix, and it was driven by Niki Lauda, who won the race with a margin of 34 seconds. However, the FIA banned the car immediately after the race due to concerns that the fan was being used as a movable aerodynamic device, which was against the rules of the sport. The FIA argued that the fan's car design was against the spirit of the sport, and that it gave the team an unfair advantage. Number 3. Hybrid power units. A blast to the modern age where gaining speed on track is a much bigger challenge than just slapping a fan to the back of a car. The hybrid power units, or HPU, were introduced in Formula 1 in 2014 as a way to increase energy efficiency and reduce the sport's carbon footprint. The HPU consists of an internal combustion engine, or ICE, and an electric motor generator unit, or MGUK, that recovers energy from the car's brake system and converts it into electricity, which is then stored in a battery and used to power the MGUH. The Mercedes team was one of the first teams to fully embrace the HPU technology and develop a highly advanced design that was significantly faster than their competitors. The Mercedes HPU design was able to achieve a high level of thermal efficiency, which meant that more of the fuel's energy was converted into power. The team also made use of advanced materials and manufacturing techniques to reduce the weight and size of the HPU components, which in turn allowed for better weight distribution and improved aerodynamics. Due to the success of their HPU design, Mercedes team went on to win the Constructors' World Championship from 2014 until 2021, the longest run in Formula 1 history, and also won 7 Drivers' Championships, 6 from Lewis and 1 from Rosberg. If you want to see how they did it, we suggest you check out our video on Toto Wolff in the annotation card above, or in the link in the description after the video. Number 2. Paddle shift gearboxes. Semi-automatic gearboxes, also known as semi-automatic transmission or paddle shift gearboxes, were first introduced in Formula 1 in 1989 by Williams-Renault. The gearboxes allowed for faster gear shifts, as the driver no longer had to manually operate the clutch, instead using paddles located on the steering wheel to shift gears. This technology quickly spread to other teams, with Ferrari, McLaren, and Benetton among the first to adopt it. The use of semi-automatic gearboxes in Formula 1 helped to increase the speed and overall performance of the cars, and the teams that were able to effectively utilize the technology often had an advantage on the track. The most successful team to use semi-automatic gearboxes was Ferrari, who won multiple Constructors' and Drivers' Championships during the 2000s, with Michael Schumacher at the wheel. Number 1. Double Diffuser. The double diffuser is an aerodynamic device that was introduced in Formula 1 in 2009. It is a type of diffuser that is used to increase downforce on the car, which improves its handling and grip on the track. It consists of 2 separate diffusers, one at the back of the car and one at the bottom. The diffusers work by accelerating the airflow under the car, creating a low-pressure area that generates downforce. This allows the car to corner faster and have better traction on the track. One of the teams that made the most of the double diffuser concept was Brawn GP. Brawn GP, led by Ross Brawn, was able to develop a highly advanced double diffuser design that was significantly faster than their competitors. This advantage allowed Brawn GP to win the Constructors' Championship in 2009 and Jenson Button to win the Drivers' Championship. It was a spectacular achievement for the team, which had only been created that year from the ashes of Honda Racing F1 team and had to fight financial difficulties. The double diffuser was banned from the sport in 2010 as it was considered too much of an advantage. And that's our list. There is one innovation that we neglected to mention, and it's the development of a Formula 1 car with 6 wheels. The only reason we didn't mention it is because we already made a video on it. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any more F1 content on F1 Thrust.